that gunshots were being fired at the Federal Courthouse. That's our new courthouse here in Austin, Texas. At 2:29 a.m., we received reports of gunshots being fired at the Mexican consulate. At 2:32 a.m., our headquarters came under attack here in downtown Austin. So if you can imagine, from within a period of 10 minutes, we received reports of gunshots in several locations here in Austin. While the suspect was discharging a fusillade, a lot of bullets at the Austin Police Headquarters at about 2:33 a.m., an Austin Police sergeant who was in the process of loading up our horses from our mounted patrol that were done for the evening, saw the gunshots, heard the gunshots, saw the gunman, saw our building that was under attack, and also heard gunshots ricocheting near his own vicinity. The sergeant at approximately 2:33 a.m. returned fire. Upon returning fire, the suspect went to the ground. At 2:34 a.m., EMS was called and requested the stage by the Austin Police Department for a suspect that was down. After the suspect went down, patrol officers grabbed the suspect, started dragging him away from his vehicle. It's important to note that two things were observed by our officers. One was suspicious cylinders inside the suspect's vehicle, which is a van located in front of the police headquarters. Anytime you have cylinders in a situation like this where someone's attacking government facilities, you have to think about IEDs and you have to think about possible explosive devices, especially in the environment that we operate today. As the officers were dragging the suspect away from that vehicle, getting ready to render aid, they noticed some type of vest on the suspect. The officers, having seen the suspicious items in the vehicle and now this vest, were unable to determine whether or not that was simply a protective vest or potentially an IED suicide type vest that is known to be used around the world. Due to the potential and the unknown nature of the vest the suspect was wearing, the officers immediately disengaged and called for our bomb squad. We also called for, obviously because we had an active situation, for a SWAT call out. So at 2:40 a.m., the bomb squad started responding. At 2:41 a.m., because of the nature of the threat with the cylinders, we shut down IH-35 and the surrounding streets near APD headquarters, and also evacuated APD headquarters. At 3:01 a.m., the police department discovered that the BBT Bank at 5th and Rio Grande had also been targeted by the suspect. It's important to note that over 100 rounds, we don't have an exact count, obviously that's part of the investigation, but many rounds were fired in downtown Austin. This time of the night, it's really dangerous. We also have developed information, physical evidence, that shows that the suspect, while at the Mexican consulate, utilized the small those little green cylinders that we use for our little portable barbecues to try to ignite the Mexican consulate. A fire was in fact ignited, believed to be started by this suspect, but fortunately it was put out prior to the consulate receiving any type of extensive fire damage. The officer involved is a 15-year veteran, and again, he's a sergeant assigned to the mounted unit. We will not be releasing his name at this time because we have to make sure that we get his family squared away and situated. He obviously will be placed on administrative leave with pay, which is consistent with our protocols. And I can just tell you that for a guy to keep his composure, holding the two horses with one hand and taking a one-handed shot with the other hand just says a lot about the training and professionalism of our police department. One of the things that we will be looking at in terms of this suspect is motive. We will also be looking at his sequence of events. We haven't been able to determine exactly what was the sequence of the building where they're attacked. And we will also be looking, as part of our criminal investigation, whether the officers gunfire struck the suspect or whether the suspect took his own life. That has not been determined at this time, and we will have to wait for the coroner's office, the medical examiner's office, as part of his investigation to make that final determination. I can tell you also that with this many crime scenes, that the area will be impacted, but the freeway is completely open, and we plan on keeping it open for the near future. We don't see any reason to stop it. I want to personally thank and commend the men and women of the Austin Police Department. They responded to multiple scenes at the same time, and they were obviously able to contain the situation, and we're very fortunate that at 2:22 a.m., you all from Austin know how many people are out on the streets. We're very fortunate. This Thanksgiving, on Thanksgiving Friday, and this weekend, I give thanks that no one but the suspect is injured or deceased, and that's something that we should all take a lot of comfort in. I also want to thank the FBI, who has been here with us from the very beginnings of this incident, as the federal partners that they are, and they will obviously help us with this investigation. But it is ongoing, it's fluid. We have located the suspect's residence, and obviously that'll be part of our investigation, and we're in the process of looking into that through search warrants and obviously making sure that there's no secondary IEDs or anything of that nature at the suspect's location. With that, I'm going to open it up to any questions.
Chief, can you talk about the suspect's vest and the potential IEDs in the car? Did we ever figure out what those were? Is there any level of danger right now?
Let me just tell you, number one, the vehicle has been cleared by the bomb squad, and the suspect has been cleared by the bomb squad. The suspect, again, I haven't described him to you, but I will now. He's a male white, and he's approximately 50 years of age. Again, he's a male white, approximately 50 years of age, and he is a resident of Austin, Texas. Any other questions?
Just to follow up on that, did they find anything that had to be diffused, or did they not find any explosive devices?
We didn't find any explosive devices on the suspect, or on him, or in the suspect vehicle. Again, the officer's first suspicions that we have these cylinders in that vehicle, well, that's exactly what it looks like he was trying to do, is use it as a weapon to try to burn down the Mexican consulate. So when you see those, anytime you see a guy engaging this kind of behavior, this violent, anti-everything behavior, government behavior, if you will, you have to think about explosives and IEDs, especially when you see cylinders.
Chief, can you describe some of the damage to the headquarters? I know we're going to
Our headquarters is extensively damaged. The front of the headquarters, we are going to allow one media outlet to be a pull camera, and we'll allow one still photographer to go through, escorted through the building. I think it's really important for the American people to understand that there's always, and sometimes law enforcement appears to be the bad guy in this country. Well, we are under siege at times, and it's important for people to realize that the men and women in this profession are really the last line of defense when it comes to homegrown extremists or overseas extremists or any type of threat, either from a terrorist type person or your common day criminal.
Chief, can you tell us a little bit more about the SWAT situation taking place at the apartment complex where you live right now?
What we're doing is we're being very methodical. It's really important that if you study some of these situations, like the Adam Lanza situation, if you all remember him, you have to operate under the assumption that there's the potential exists for incendiary devices, the potential exists for a booby trap situation. We owe it to our first responders. We owe it to members of this community to ensure that we approach that location in the most cautious manner possible. And so we will treat that as a crime scene, but B, as a potential threat until we finish our investigation.
It sounds like you're leaning towards kind of anti-government, that sort of thing, as a motive. Is that kind of what you guys are looking at for now? I know it's early on.
Well, it'd be pure speculation, but if you look at a person shooting up the Mexican consulate, and then the federal building, there's a pretty, and this is all speculation, but when you look at the national debate right now about immigration, that certainly comes to mind. And one of the things that frustrations as an American for me and as a police officer and a police chief is that sometimes our political discourse becomes very heated and sometimes very angry and sometimes the rhetoric is not healthy. And I think that we can have policy debates regardless of what the issue is, whether it's immigration or the economy or anything else. We should all learn to debate issues, whether it's weapons control, gun control, background checks, whatever the issues are. We've got to be careful about our rhetoric, because I would suspect, and I would venture based on my training and experience, that the rhetoric, the political rhetoric, might have fed into some of this. But that's, again, speculation on my part. But I'm willing to speculate because I think that's important. People want to know. This threat, as far as we can tell, is contained to this one individual. It's contained to this incident, these series of incidents. And we don't believe that there's any danger to anybody else other than the location that we're trying to clear now.
The FBI at that location?
The FBI is part of the investigation, yes.
Was this man known to police at all?
That's part of the ongoing investigation. I can tell you that he does have a criminal history, but we're not going to release any of that at this point.
You have a fully automatic firearm?
That's part of our investigation.
We'll take one more question.
I'm trying to have a better understanding of where your officer was, the sergeant rather, who shot him. Was he on the street? Was he up in the...
Our officer that shot at the suspect, and again, part of the investigation will be, did we strike the suspect? Was the suspect downed, injured, or killed by our gunfire, or did he commit suicide? That's part of our investigation. Do you know where our mounted has the parking right there on 8th Street? You always see the trailers out there. The sergeant was right there, getting ready to put the horses away for the night when the attack on the police headquarters occurred. And as he held 2 horses with one hand, he discharged at least one round with a single-handed shot. And so that'd be one heck of a shot. And so again, part of our investigation will be whether the suspect died from our gunshot, from a self-inflicted gunshot, or from a combination of both. And we will not know that until the medical examiner conducts his investigation.
You're looking into the suspect's, I guess, social media accounts, that sort of thing, to find out if there's any of this possible political motivation?
We'll be looking at everything. But if you look at the targets that were hit, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's a potential.
Thank you.